We have talked so far about many aspects related to being an entrepreneur. We are now deep diving into, I believe, several topics that are connected to the methods, some winning formulas to be entrepreneurs, and we'll do that with Alessandro Rimassa. Good afternoon, Alessandro. Good afternoon, Davide. Good afternoon, everyone. If we were in presence, I would like actually to give me your signature on my book because Generazione 1000 is well okay Generazione 1000 dates back to many years ago. The first edition online dates back to 2005, and the first physical edition dates back to over 15 years ago, 2007. So I feel old now. Well, okay. Don't tell me. Okay, a short introduction, of course, because I was reading from your bio. You are an expert in digital transformation. You founded Changes, the first Italian community devoted to professional transformation and growth. You have directed the IED Innovation Center. You are co-founder of the Talent Garden Innovation School. I see many more things, among which also the one I've already mentioned, your activity as a book writer. I would like to start with a very easy question. Can we call you a serial entrepreneur or not? Well, apart from any definitions, considering all these things that have characterized your life, which one is the one you love the most? Well, actually, I don't like the term serial entrepreneur because I've created my own business from scratch. It has worked pretty well. Today, I'm experimenting to actually create a new business. I believe that in my life, maybe I could go with a couple, but what I love now is to help other people who want to become entrepreneurs, data investors, helping many startups grow and develop more easily. I must say that I strongly believe in the theory of the seasons in life. In each season, I enjoy doing something different. The most important thing I've done so far is the Talent Garden Innovation School for sure, because from scratch, we have built the most important school in terms of innovation in Italy. It has been developed in many other countries abroad in Europe. And so Talent Garden has become a real hub for innovation many talk about and use. So that's probably my most important enterprise. Then other enterprises are my books. I've written 7 every time. It's like delivering birth. And as for fun, well, with changes and another project I'm going for in this moment, I'm really passionate with that. But if I consider what mostly satisfies me and makes me happier every day is choosing and training people. Because when I consider my professional successes, I discovered that they are not the result of my special capabilities, apart from one, which is a major one, that is choosing the right people, training them and helping them grow day after day for them to be able to do something great. Today I'm doing this with the new 2 projects I'm launching. I did that last year with Feltrinelli, debuting in the education field. I'm doing that with the 9 startups I'm investing in, and I talk to their founders and entrepreneurs day after day, so I try to help them grow. I believe this is something that I thought would have come later in my life, but actually I've discovered this is the key to my successes. It's not me, it's my ability to choose and train the people, and this is extraordinary, I believe, because when you see the people that maybe start as juniors, they have started as interns in a company, and within short, they make the difference in the business. That's great. Absolutely. Okay. Let's say you've come here in the right moment with the right timing. So you'll help us somehow summarize our own journey throughout this entrepreneurship journey. We are trying to profile the entrepreneur in its different characteristics. We've talked about competencies, skills, methods. We've described the entrepreneur as someone who lives well in moments of crisis, who devotes to solving problems, a passionate professional from your point of view, so from the point of view of a person who has done business, who's helping businesses and startups, characterize what an entrepreneur must be or must be. Well, the entrepreneur must be a person who can provide concreteness to a project, an idea, a thought, turning it into reality. The entrepreneur is the person who builds a business, an enterprise that will resist to the entrepreneur himself or herself. The entrepreneur is not the owner of the business. The entrepreneur is the person who shapes the idea, changing it into a reality that will generate money, that will generate profits, and hence that will create value. In my opinion, the entrepreneur, and I'm saying this here from Milan, in the heart of the place that gave birth to many entrepreneurs. Well, I don't think this is my the absolute view, but my view of an entrepreneur is to create something which will resist to yourself. This is a self-analysis I've done on myself because up to 39, I was a manager. I was not an entrepreneur. When in 2015 I was 39 and I decided to become an entrepreneur, well, apart from cutting on my salary, investing money and risking whatever I had, and in the end I was only anguished for the future of my own loved ones, because sometimes I woke up in the night saying, okay, well, I have recruited this and that, and what about if we're not doing well? So I feared for the people I cared for. When I started with the Talent Garden Innovation School, I said, okay, my horizon was about 10 years to develop it throughout Europe. And then I said, I'll become the honorary chair. So I had the idea that at a certain point, that thing would be transferred to someone else. As a matter of fact, that was quicker. It took me only 5 years instead of 10 for that business to resist me, so to survive me. So I selected and recruited and trained the people who could go on with that project that had turned into a business, maybe pursuing it in a different way compared to what I would do. But I think I'm a good person at building from scratch. So I tried to select the people who better than I could do could maintain and develop that business in time. This was the great challenge for me as an entrepreneur. That is the challenge of creating a business that survives the own founder. I don't like entrepreneurs who talk about generational passage as if business where like a legacy. The business is of the person who builds it and brings it forth. It's like a child. Adopting parents are not less parents than those who biologically have a child. They are parents anyway because they are those who grow that child. The same is for the business. The business is of one founder first, then of the other owner, and then conception of another one. This is a very different conception compared to what our fathers actually had. There are actually businesses that are identified within the founder's name. One thing, Davide, and this is a suggestion to everyone doing business. Of course, you also exploit the founder's name, personal brand, and history to create the business. And when we started with the Talent Garden Innovation School, I used my own image, my own personal brand, my credibility to create that brand. And we did the same also with Davide Dattoli, who had founded the Talent Garden. So at Talent Garden Innovation School, it was he and I together, our two faces, skills and abilities to build something new. But actually, then we started a depersonalization moment. This is something all entrepreneurs should do. So at a certain point, the business brand must be more important than the entrepreneur's brand, also because that entrepreneur with his or her own credibility and abilities can do something else. And so it's nice to have more than one child in life. Clear. Well, I believe this is a very important concept. I would like to ask you one more question as regards your own experience. We are this afternoon trying to look for some success models. So you are following startups, you are investing in startups. So in the first person, you'll be interested in checking whether the startup you are personally investing in has a model that works or not. When you analyze these realities, these businesses you are investing in, so your interest is very high in somehow checking this startup. What do you consider? Is there a model you go for? So when you see that, you say, okay, that's going to be a success. Well, this project instead is not going to work. So are you going for anything like a fixed model? Well, no, I never have all these certainties. I must be honest. The working of a business, the success of a business is given by several factors. First, the people who actually lead the business and the people surrounding the business leaders. Then also the corporate culture, the operating system that leads and drives the business, the market, where you are a player, and also the timing, because there are some right moments to penetrate the market and other moments that instead are not the correct ones. A discrete amount of fortune, I believe we always need that, and it's quite valuable for what you are doing. And also the ability to listen to the people, to the market, to the clients, customers, the competitors, to try and improve your own product. Because when you launch a startup, you're launching a product, you are starting from a first product which might potentially evolve and develop also in number in time. But what I really look at, so I strongly relate to that with the people. Of course, I consider the business plans, the figures, I try to understand the market, but I take that for granted somehow. If you decide to go for a company hiring sailing boats in the center of Milan, in downtown Milan, that's probably not going to work out. So that's the first type of analysis I do. But after that, the real core is to understand who are the people inside the business, what their corporate culture is, and what is their view for their own business. So seeing, I try to understand whether they have clear ideas, whether they have understood what they are doing, if they are creating a business to turn it into a real success and not only because they want to live it within only a few years. How much are they in love with what they are doing, and how ready are they to work every single day, hour by hour, not even day by day, on what they are building. This is a very human assessment. Clearly, you start from the figures, from the numbers, and you consider that, but that's default. If you don't have appropriate numbers, that's done. You are done. But then there's the human factor, sharing the goals and the will to attain them. I believe that if we consider the sports world, we have great sportsmen who were not very talented, but thanks to their training, abnegation, determination, and so on, they became successful. I believe that this is exactly the same with the business. So, can we summarize for the people who are following us? Probably, well, definitely for Alessandro, if they wanted to ask Alessandro, why aren't you investing in our startup? Well, one of the core points is the human being. So I assess the human being, and I assess how much that human being believes in the own child, as you said before. This is even more important compared to all other assessments that you take for granted as regards the figures and the business plan. Well, for sure, yes, there it is. I have always interpreted my job from that point of view, even when I selected and hired people to work with me. And in these years, considering Talent Garden and other projects I have followed, I have exceeded, I think, 250, 260 people that I hired in the past 6 or 7 years. If I need a digital marketing expert with the basic skills for digital marketing, well, that's taken for granted. I assess that, but digital marketing skills is a ground zero to start selection process. But when you hire a person, the most important thing is to wonder, okay, but if tomorrow evening we work late, do I want to go and have something to eat maybe at midnight with this person, or shall we go together and have a beer together after that longer hours? If the answer is yes, that's the right person. If the answer is no, well, that's done. In the same way, I do assess also the companies I want to invest in and the entrepreneurs I point to. Now, I currently have 9 startups where I'm investing with my investment holdings, and they are 9 entrepreneurs and CEOs I actually talk to almost every single day. Since then, we always have our phone call either from 7 to 8 in the morning or from 10 to 11 in the night. Well, these are people you have something strong in common with, or that's done. Okay. Um, is this your own way to assess people, to assess companies considering the people, or is this something more widespread in the market, in the world in general? Well, for sure in Italy, but in general in Europe, I would say I can tell you that this is something quite common. I've seen that also a lot in Northern Europe, in Spain, Austria. I must say that in Europe, that is something very common, considering that startups and entrepreneurs, well, they are real a lot nowadays. So the people who invest, those who do not only put the money and then forget about that, but those who also invest time to have those businesses grow, well, they choose the people. In general, if we consider the first stage startups, that's true also for all ventures and incubators like the ones in the US. They always believe in the team before then they believe in the figures and in the idea. So I believe this is a core point. And today, also considering and building up the idea of making business from now to 2030, which resembles to the title of this nice event, that's the challenge for me. We must build businesses that produce products that can help the people live better and better experiences. Not so much product, not so much service, but more and more experience. If you want to build an extraordinary experience for someone, you must be the one who wants first to live and experience extraordinary experiences in first person. So I believe that the human factor is central now. If 2010, the first decade of this century, was the first just the beginning of this new century, and that was based on something different. The second decade are the years of corporate culture, of the people, of businesses who can quickly move starting from their own people, and that by developing the own people, develop the own business too. So they do business as a consequence of the people they choose, they train, and they grow. Well, within the afternoon, we have picked several aspects. So I want your opinion, even though you partially expressed that many aspects talk and describe the entrepreneur as the one able to relate, manage the people. The entrepreneur is the one who can network, who can be empathic. We've talked about emotional intelligence. Clearly, you have now added additional concepts that are more linked to values. I believe that a startup that has among its values something which is connected to the 2030 agenda and talks about sustainability and inclusivity, maybe that has a higher value compared to a business that maybe talks about more watered values, more connected to figures. I mean, so business is more connected to man and to the humans and sustainability. It's a more human business, isn't it? Well, yes, I believe that both the extraordinary character of the digital revolution, the digital, which we have always considered as something that detached one from the other, actually the digital experience allows us personalization and building of experiences that are no more mass-like. When you do that, there are businesses. This means that there are businesses behind that point and bet on the people and not so much on the standardization of the own resources. In a future of work and in a world that changes, where everything that is repetitive is automated with algorithms before and with artificial intelligence nowadays, well, at that point, evidently people become important. Maybe there are fewer within the businesses, but they are more important because they are those that lead the machines while performing their own duties. So the human dimension is the core dimension to me. And if we consider that in general, all businesses are part of the history of the bigger businesses. They are founded and led by great men and women, and they do whatever they do thanks to great men and women. So technology automates a part of this and provides the possibility for an utmost expression of talent. So this is the great challenge, in my opinion, and it's really very beautiful because I believe that uh, companies originate to make profit, to make business. That's their goal. But you can do business, you can create profit by developing people and not only considering people as something which is not necessary and not core. Before leaving you with the question I've asked everyone, so giving a suggestion to entrepreneurs, I wanted to ask you a question that we have received from the chat. We have about 5 minutes, so we can have both. Well, question from the chat. The metaphor of the athlete connected to the entrepreneur is very interesting, but agonism is not for everyone. In the moment when the successful startup understands that he is not designed for agonism, does that mean that he must leave? Well, if he is not devoted to agonism, he's not going to be successful. Well, a specification, a startupper or entrepreneur are not two different things. They are the same thing. The startupper is just the beginning of the creation of a building. So the entrepreneur, the successful entrepreneur, the one who can build something that works, is a person who's devoted to agonism, to competition in all its forms, from going beyond, raising the bar of expectations, abnegation, ability to train, the ability to select the people to surround him or her to provide the best result. So I believe that it is quite simple. Well, doing business, being entrepreneurs is not for everyone, and there's nothing wrong in not being able to be an entrepreneur. Some years ago, when I was talking with different American people, it clearly emerged that they were looking for bankrupt startuppers to bring them in bigger companies. Why? Because if you are an entrepreneur, you have different capabilities. You must know about product, business, marketing, finance, and so on and so forth. So there are entrepreneurs who were not successful because maybe they were excellent in developing the product, but they were really chaotic when dealing with the financials. So those headhunters were looking for them to bring them into larger companies because there's the entrepreneur, which is a profile quite common in larger companies because they take up responsibility and make things happen. That can be an evolution. When you make business, you must never be scared. Well, we have no time because otherwise I would ask you, have you ever been scared? And if so, what? But we are reeling up with our time. However, I would like to ask you one more question. A few people are following us. We have a goal today, which is to profile the entrepreneur towards 2030. What's your suggestion to the people who want to become entrepreneurs? They have to enjoy it because it's going to be hard. They will have to commit a lot. They will have to sacrifice even more things. So every single second you do your business, you must enjoy that. You must enjoy what you are doing. I am a person who's always enjoyed my job, and when I stopped enjoying, I changed. So if you want to do good business, you must enjoy that every single day, every single hour. You'll have tough times, but if in our day enjoyment has prevailed, this means that independently on the final result, that is going to be an experience that was worth living then if you're successful, good. If otherwise, we have learned something that we can use later on in our own professional life. Thank you very much, Alessandro. Thank you with your final message to entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs. Thank you. Thank you for your contribution for this half an hour we spent together. And I'll see you maybe on that occasion. I'll ask you to sign your own book. Thank you. Thank you very much and enjoy the afternoon. Thank you. Hi. Thank you.